Hello. Today I find myself outside as my husband is working on a bathroom remodel, so I hope you enjoy the scenery during this presentation. This is my Module 3 Special Education Interview recap. As I conducted these 3 interviews, I interviewed one special education teacher in my school, I interviewed my school principal, and one paraprofessional in our building. The questions I asked were the same for each interviewee, and the responses have been recorded on the slides. The first question I asked were about our child find procedures that our district uses. In talking with the special ed teacher as well as the administrator, they were aware of some child find procedures that we use, such as we offer a developmental preschool option for students that are in our community that have special needs, ages 3 and older. These types of programs that we offer are advertised throughout the community. They use things like community bulletin boards as well as the local paper and posting online, as well as school marquees. As we live in a small community, these are visible for almost all residents. The most challenging part of each of the interviewees' roles with regards to education seemed to be a little bit different. However, they were all student-centered. Every single answer was about making sure we provide what is needed so every student can succeed. The special education teacher talked about the paperwork load that really is a heavy load for special ed teachers to carry. They need to make sure that all the verbiage is in them, that it's done correctly, and making sure that every accommodation is accounted for, as these are legal and law, they're like legal documents that we all have to abide by. They need to make sure that they are done so specifically and correctly, and that's a big responsibility that it carries in itself, as well as making sure that this information that we know, the accommodations and the different modifications that need to be made so our kids can have success, it's imperative that those are spelled out so that they receive all the help that they need throughout their educational experience, because their IEP follows them. The administrator talked specifically about making sure that he provides the supports that are necessary. He completely relies on and believes that the special education teachers are the professionals. They are the professionals. They are the experts. They know what they need. And his job is to make sure that they have the programming and support necessary. The next question was, what is the most rewarding part of the job? The special ed teacher talked about specifically students achieving goals. We all know, if we've been on an IEP team, that these goals are set annually for students, and it's so rewarding to be able to see the students work hard and progress towards these goals, and then eventually be able to achieve the goals that they've set for themselves, as well as the team has set. The administrator loves to hear, my administrator calls these the wins. He loves to hear the wins. He loves to hear how the students are doing and how they're progressing and how our school is meeting their needs. The paraprofessional that I interviewed, she also mentioned that what's the most rewarding part is to see the kids that she's working with have success in our school. The advice that they would give on supervision of special education staff is to be aware and to be sensitive. Those are kind of the 2 big takeaways. It's imperative that we're aware of the needs of the special education department. The administrator, as well as the special ed teacher, discussed the specific needs of the special ed department and how they are different than the regular education teachers. General ed teachers have needs too. However, sometimes the special education department needs, maybe they seem like they're more or greater, or they might be a little more time sensitive, and it's important that those needs are taken into account and that the administrator supports those. The paraprofessional also talked about the fact that it's important to provide training for the staff. The paraprofessionals in our district receive a little bit of training, however, they don't receive a lot of training, and so they really want to make sure that they're doing the best things for their students, and they feel that more training could be used in order to help meet those needs. When I asked how they worked effectively with parents of children with special needs, they all talked about the communication. which of course is key. Consistent communication is important. In talking with a special education teacher, she talked about how she makes sure that she makes phone calls home early if communication needs to be made. Instead of waiting for the IEP meeting to happen, she contacts the home and lets them know about progress, checks in on issues or things that she's seeing, maybe changes in the student, so that those conversations can happen early so that there's no downtime in student success and student achievement. The paraprofessional talked about understanding what the parent wants from them. What does the parent expect from the school system? What does the parent expect from their child's day at school? And that's important for the paraprofessional to have a clear picture of that so that they can provide the help that the student needs. When asked how these three work with general education teachers, they talked about coordination and they talked about working together, not in working as a separate entity. In our building, we have what is called teaming, where the team of teachers meets together actually every single day. I work in a small district, and every 7th grade teacher, I'm the 7th grade team leader, and I teach 7th grade reading. All of the 7th grade teachers meet together 1 hour every single day so that we can discuss specifically student needs. And every Tuesday we meet with a special education teacher so that we can discuss specific student needs. We also work regularly with them to discuss different types of modifications and or accommodations that can be made, so that in the classroom we are supporting our students the best that we can, really. For the paraprofessional, I thought it was interesting that she felt it was important that the teacher understand what she should be doing in the classroom with the students. She felt that was important, that the teachers understand what she's doing there and the types of things that she supports or types of things she might be doing to help support that student. And it's important for them to know that there are specific things that may be happening. Maybe in the back of the classroom there may be a lot of movement, but that it being communicated actually helps the teacher as well as the paraprofessional do their job best. And the other thing that she mentioned was that she likes to talk to the teachers and just say, hey, you can also use me when additional help is needed, and that I'm here as a paraprofessional to support all students, maybe not specifically just special education students. And I thought that that was an interesting viewpoint on that. The advice that they would give a first-year administrator kind of was along the same lines from all three. However, they come from a different lens, and I thought it was interesting to hear their take on it. Of course, the special education teacher talked to me about make sure that you're aware that the special education department has different needs than a regular general ed teacher or department would, a specific subject department. Make sure that you're being sensitive to those needs. And the other thing is that it's really helpful if you just check in with them periodically to just make sure, how are things going? Do you have what you need? How can I support you? The administrator's advice was this: you can do it. It's going to be overwhelming, but just be open, keep your positive attitude, and listen. He really emphasized that, the need to listen. And when you listen, you can actually understand better what is needed from you, and that helps you understand your responsibilities as well as prioritize those responsibilities. The paraprofessional mentioned supporting all staff, including paraprofessionals, and I think that that actually ties back into her comments about providing the training necessary so that paraprofessionals can feel supported as well as they can feel knowledgeable in what they need to do to help our students. The description they provided about the role of the special education teacher and the principal in the building were basically that they work together. The special education teacher discussed specifically how they can work together because we're all in this for a common goal or a common purpose. We want student success. The administrator described he and the special education teachers and department as teammates, that we're all working together for the same goal. And the paraprofessional felt like they were part of that team, but they also definitely felt like the special education teacher as well as the administrator are the decision makers, and they have the power to make the decisions to implement what's needed for our students to have success. The characteristics that they would seek in administrators in regards to special education again, we're very similar, which is not a surprise. The special ed teacher brought up sensitivity, understanding, and knowledge. She said it's important for the principal to actually understand what is happening, understand that different students have different needs and different disabilities require different things. The administrator also mentioned this knowledge and how that was important, and the paraprofessional also mentioned the knowledge. And so to me, that was the one common theme throughout all three of their answers. Again, the idea of understanding and sensitivity or just general awareness of the needs came up. And then the administrator, my administrator is a firm believer in having a strong vision. And that vision definitely includes student success and is centered around student success. And that is how he feels that ties in with his role as an administrator in regards to special education. My reflection and evaluation and projections after putting all this information together and thinking about the information that all three interviewees shared with me are this. In reflection, I feel like it's important that I hear all sides. To me, it was really interesting to see how there were common themes throughout everyone's answers. However, their perspective or their lens actually helped shed greater light on the topic of an administrator's role in special education. I was thankful I had the opportunity to talk to all three sides. I thought, well, oh, that's a good idea to talk to all three parties. However, I didn't realize how powerful it would be in understanding the full scope of special education. And I feel by participating in these interviews, I am now better prepared as an administrator in regards to my role with special education. In evaluations, my evaluation of the interviews I felt like most of the answers I had expected that those would be most of the answers. However, again, those overlying themes or the ones that were common and consistent throughout all the answers were that I need to be supportive and be available to provide the help that is needed. My projection for the types of things I'm going to need to do and be as an administrator in regards to special education are, number one, I know I need to look for more opportunities to receive the most training I can in regards to my role as in special education, as well as understanding the law, as well as understanding disabilities and accommodations, and to make sure that we have the most reliable resources, the best programming, and services available for our students. And the other thing that I've learned through this process is that I know I'll need to use as an administrator is that I need to take into account all sides of the student's education. That includes not just the special education teachers. It should include the paraprofessional staff, anyone who's supporting those students. It includes the general education staff, as well as myself, and making sure that I'm being an active team member as an administrator in the role of the special education department in my building. These are my resources, and I hope you enjoyed this presentation. Thanks.